basketball.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 598. Can you believe that? 598.
Why would you say it's episode 500 every episode?
Why? Oh, just so we have a special?
Yeah, every episode's the special episode.
I don't think people would be too impressed if we had a 500th episode and it was just a normal, like, hey, let's talk about the 3 games this week for our 500th episode special.
Jay, I just thought of something I wanted to do to start the show with.
Okay.
I did not discuss it with you at all because that it would be helpful to discuss anything before the show started.
As per usual.
As per usual. But I want to do a bit to start the show. And I'm giving you no time to prepare for it. And so let's just go to it.
Our pregame ritual is to talk nothing about basketball and then start the show, and then Mark tells me about the bit he has planned. That's our pregame ritual.
I'm not going to try to do impressions because I'm terrible at impressions. But for this bit, though, Jay,
Yes.
you're going to be Tibbs.
Okay.
Can you nail Tip? By the way, today is Tom Thibodeau's birthday. What do you think Tom Thibodeau wants for his birthday?
I think he wants more wins. I think he eats, sleeps, and breathes basketball, and I don't think he wants anything else.
I think he wants the refs to open their goddamn eyes. I think he wants the players to hustle more, work harder. I think he just basically shouts these things at him and like as he blows out his candles. They're like, that wasn't really blowing the candles as much as you just screaming about stuff.
Make a wish. I wish Scott Foster didn't rob us yesterday.
Okay. Your tips, and I will be Leon Rose, as played by the worst of Knicks Twitter.
For the sake of the listeners, I'm not going to talk like Tibbs because that'll get old.
And for the sake of the listeners, whatever, who cares? God damn it, Tibbs, get in my office.
All right, what do you want? I'm busy watching tape.
How do you think the season's going?
Well, I mean, we lost 20 times, so it's going all right, but 20 losses.
Yeah, you're gonna tell me that wins means the season's going well because you have a good record?
6 games above 500. 5 games. Well, it was 6 at one point.
Yeah, you don't even know how many games above 500. What the
That's
hell's wrong with
because
you?
I'm focusing on tape. I watched thousands of hours of tape. Second best start in the last 20 years.
Okay, you're fired.
Wait.
Here's why you're fired. RJ Barrett played 49 minutes last night. Ryan played 40 minutes yesterday. Brunson played 43 minutes. Randall played 42 minutes. You're fired.
Overtime game. Everyone on Toronto played over 40 minutes. They only had a 7-guy rotation.
Why would you have done that with Toronto? Why'd you play those guys so many minutes? You're fired from Toronto's job also.
Well, I don't even work for Toronto, but I don't have any player in the top 20 in minutes per game. Minutes played per game.
You're fired. We're going to get another coach that can play everyone 30 minutes a game. No more minutes, or else they're fired.
So these bench guys that are shooting like 20%, you want them to like have their minutes doubled.
Wins don't matter as long as everyone plays a reasonable amount of minutes, so they don't get too overexerted during the games. That's what matters.
I feel like this is more like Little League rules.
What do you think about tanking? Do you want to tank?
Do you want me to take them out for ice cream after the game?
Yes. Well, I mean, they have to be in the best shape of their lives. But they can have ice cream. But you're fired, and so is the next coach, and so is the next coach. I need a perfect coach who knows how to play guys, not very many minutes, but win every game. You know Randall went ISO in a couple plays yesterday? You're fired.
I mean, he's our best player. So
Obi Toppin, why didn't he play 48 minutes?
he's not as good as Randall, and they play the
he
same
needs
position.
to play 48 minutes a game.
But
You're fired from playing the other guys too many minutes and not giving Toppin all of everyone's minutes. There are 240 minutes to go around, and Toppin needs to play all 240 minutes.
That seems like tall order.
Well, he's a tall guy. He can dunk uncontested. He can dunk.
Mm-hmm.
I drafted him at number 8. He's the greatest.
He can dunk, and
I'm still waiting to see the and. Sometimes he hits threes.
Okay.
Anyway, Obi Toppin's unbelievable. And by the way, you haven't told anyone why you're not allowed to play Cam, right?
no, that's secret.
I remember I'll kill your mom if you play Cam.
I know.
Don't you dare play Cam.
Well, you just let the secret out.
Oh, shit. What's going on, Jack?
That was fun.
That was fun. So Knicks, since last show, have gone, I think, 3-1. They beat the Pacers. They beat the Wizards. Jay and I are actually going to see the Wizards tomorrow night against the Knicks. They beat the Pistons, and they lost a heartbreaker to the Raptors. Feeling pretty good about the week, even though they lost yesterday. So, Jay, let me ask you first thing.
Mm-hmm.
People were kind of annoyed that Jalen Brunson shot a 3 at the end of the game and going for the win. How do you feel about that in overtime?
It was a decent shot. I know some people wanted him to try and lob it to Mitch. If he threw the lob and it was a turnover or it just didn't get to Mitch, everyone would have been saying what a bad decision that was. So it's not like it was like
open.
Yeah,
Mitch wasn't really open for the lob.
It
Like,
was
there
a high degree of difficulty, maybe lob there at running at full speed with 2 seconds left. Like
he could have taken it closer to, but in fairness, also you are like working against the clock there. You have to get the shot off.
yeah,
He went for the win. Can you blame the Knicks for going for the win?
no. I mean, I could blame Scott Foster for being in that position to be able to. The craziest thing to me. So Barrett gets a dunk at the end. His arm is grabbed. He's
And the regulation, yeah.
And they don't call a foul, which they would have called on any star in the whole league. But then they do the last 2-minute report, and they confirm that it wasn't a foul because it didn't affect the shot. When they called touch fouls all game, and they called the same foul on Hart 30 seconds before.
Literally half the fouls that are called in the NBA do not affect the shot, and they call them anyway. You cannot give that as an explanation for not calling the foul.
So I've been calling for not calling fouls that don't affect the shot for years, but not when it's you didn't call it all game and it literally affects the winner of the game. That's
right. I think the refs didn't want to on that play. So the last play of the regulation, the free throw was missed. RJ takes the ball down full court and slams it in for an awesome dunk to tie the game. He's clearly you could see a picture of I don't know who I don't know which defender had his arm on him, but his defender had his arm on RJ. Clearly a foul.
Mm-hmm. It was Barnes, Scotty Barnes.
Oh, it was Barnes. Barnes who missed the free throw. Also did the foul.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because Barnes went to the line a million times, but it doesn't count when he fouls someone.
Correct. Scott Foster, everybody. The ref who was like really good friends with Donaghy, and the NBA just ignored it, and now he's doing this.
I think generally they try to avoid calling foul calls to decide games more so, despite the fact like they had like Randall the push in the back. What they call a lot of ticky-tack fouls on the Knicks. They were fouls at near the end of the game, but they generally try not to. Like, I don't mind that they didn't call the foul on RJ if they hadn't called all the other stupid fouls against the Knicks.
Exactly. I'm against touch fouls first of all, that was more than a touch foul. But I'm against calling touch fouls, but you can't call it all game and then not call it in that situation.
Right. I kind of think if you make I understand there being an N1, but I kind of think if there's an N1, it really should be more than a touch foul, or else you just don't call the stupid foul. Like, it didn't really affect the shot. People can argue, well, then you give me a license to foul people more. It's got to be more than a touch foul for an N1.
I don't know. It seems like everyone our age loves the 90s basketball way more, and they didn't call the touch fouls, and I thought it was way more exciting that way.
I thought so too, but apparently there wasn't enough. Well, the difference really is there wasn't as much scoring because you were allowed to play defense.
I don't care. I appreciated a good defensive play. I enjoyed those 87-84 Miami Knicks games. Like,
Right. I don't remember what the ratings were. I don't remember what the ratings are compared to now. But the NBA has taken off since the 90s. They're more popular than ever.
mm-hmm.
They, as an organization, don't feel those scores were very helpful.
but is anybody watching these games going, awesome, another free throw? I can't get enough of watching these free throws.
So you're right. People don't like the free throws, but the NBA needs to, like, they feel like we need to have high scoring. People like high scoring. We need to figure out a way to, like, not have the defense. We don't want 85, 80, like 87, 85 games. We'd much rather 123 to 121. That's much better. We need to figure out how to bring they're trying each year. They're trying to, like, change something. They're trying to, like, the flopping is not as bad as it was for a while. They keep bringing things back on the. They don't call everything now. Like, it's not the Miami finals where Wade got, like, every foul call. Though, I mean, sometimes they haven't happened. Those kind of games happen, but, like, you don't think the NBA is trying to figure out the amount of fouls they can go with to make the game fun?
No. I think they're just strictly focusing on getting the score high, and removing hand checking and.
Well, you don't think they want the NBA is like we're an entertainment business more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about good basketball games. It's about good basketball games that people want to watch.
Yeah.
The 90s basketball, even though I loved it, you loved it, more people like higher scoring affairs.
Mm-hmm.
The 3-point shooting is more fun. We can't prevent, if we're going to have all the 3-point shooting, we can't have all these three-point shooters fouled on every shot. And we also need to open up the offense by reducing the ability to cover people. And that leads to more touch fouls called, but then they kind of roll it back a little bit also.
I don't see how not calling touch fouls is going to reduce the amount of threes taken.
Well, you can barely guard a 3-point shooter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that basically nails people even more open for 3-point shots, and they keep taking those shots. There are a lot of things you can't do on defense anymore that makes it easier for the offense to score.
Yeah, so just do that without calling touch fouls.
But the only way you make it harder for the defense to guard people is to call fouls and stuff they do, so they adjust.
Yeah, I still think there's enough regular fouls where you don't have to call fake fouls on top of it.
I think in any game, when guys shoot like 40 free throws per team, something's going wrong with the refereeing.
I just feel like the fans don't like it. The players don't like it. Like, nobody seems to like it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the Knicks winning.
Okay. The question was, I guess I am very fine with Brunson shooting that shot. If there's no one else on the Knicks, I want shooting the last shot of the games than Brunson. I mean, great. That'd be great if he, like, hit Robinson for a lob. It's great if he maybe passes for Grimes or someone else to take a three. But I'm going to trust Brunson more than anyone else to take that shot. I'm very happy he took the shot. Sorry he missed it. If he hit it, it would have been goddamn amazing. And RJ, that was pretty goddamn awesome driving down the court. How do you feel about the Knicks losing to the Raptors? Raptors are under 500. The Knicks are over 500. Are the Raptors the team we should be beating?
They are, and you can argue they should have. On the other hand, if you don't let it come down to a one-possession game, then you don't have to worry about these things. Yeah, those are the teams you should be beating, but the Raptors
Knicks
always seem to play the Knicks tough. I don't know why they always seem to play the Knicks tough.
Van Vliet, who's not having an amazing year, looked goddamn awesome. Scotty Barnes, whose offense hasn't been amazing this year, looked great. Like, they really bring their all to play the Knicks.
Yeah.
Refs seem to help them. This is also an example of, like, where the Knicks could use some sharpshooters who could just nail some threes to really take down the Raptors. The Knicks, one of the biggest things they don't have is they just don't have guys that can hit shots. They don't have enough guys that can hit shots. No one on the bench provides much offense besides quickly. And it really would be great to have a couple guys on the bench who can just hit some threes. The Knicks aren't a great shooting team, and this is the kind of game where you're playing a pretty good defense that you just need guys who can hit threes and kind of take the other team out of the game.
Yeah, they need some, like, guy like Jordan Clarkson or something. Some guy who could just come in and take over the offense. They need somebody like that.
They could use an Alec Burks, which you're not going to trade back to get. Mm-hmm. But, like, you could just do someone that can go off for 20 from the bench, an additional player.
Yeah.
And as much as, like, quickly, I think 1 through 6, the Knicks have figured something out. They have 6 very good players. After that, I like McBride, I like Hart, I like Obi to a certain extent. But they really don't have other guys. Like after 6, it really falls downhill. It really falls off a cliff. If you had good 7, 8, and 9 players, those guys would justify more minutes, which would also mean like the starters don't play as many minutes.
Right. Yeah. It's like Hart goes on the court, and you're like, I really can't wait for either Randall or Robinson to go back in. But then you're like, oh, they played too many minutes. But it's like, yeah, it's because Hart's not playing as well as we need him to.
So, like, Obi got extended run in the he only up with 11 minutes, but he got some extended run in the second quarter yesterday, and he hit like a 3 and got like a dunk, and great, awesome Obi. And also the only contested dunk the only time he was contested at the basket, he did not make it because he can never make a contested shot. And he also went for like at one point he only missed 2 shots yesterday, but his other shot he missed was just like a 15-foot jumper, which he just like threw nowhere near the basket.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm watching Obi out there, and he's giving extended minutes. It's like 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, and I'm like, okay, where's Randall? Get Randall back in the game. Like, I've enough. I'm glad Obi's getting some fun. Get Randall back in the game. And it's hard not to, when you watch everyone else, you watch McBride only played 6 minutes. When you watch McBride, you're like, we could give Brunson some more minutes.
Yeah.
If they can figure out, and this, I don't think you can figure this out. It's going to be hard to figure out during this season, but in the off season, if you could figure out 7, 8, and like 7 through 9 or 7 through 10, and get some better players, this team looks a lot better because then you could really play Randall less minutes, everyone else less minutes, and don't have them also dead tired at the end of the games.
Exactly. And yeah, it's only one extra really good player is going to reduce 2 starters by like 5 minutes each. And
really, if you had one more, I like everything. Quick has been great lately. I also feel like yesterday Quickly could have had some more of. RJ played 49 minutes. I know it's overtime, so like, but without overtime, RJ would have played 44 minutes. Quickly could have gotten some of RJ's minutes. I think you really need to. Tibbs has done this to a certain extent, but like, Quickly needs to play more time with the starters, and RJ needs to play more time with the bench players, just because they need more firepower. RJ's better at creating his own shot than Quickly is, and they need that with the bench.
yeah,
And Quickly looks pretty good with the starters. A little more mixing and matching would be really helpful, and just have Quickly take some more minutes so RJ does not play 44 minutes of regulation. That's insane.
yeah.
What do you think of? So here's a question for you about the bench. What do you think? Would you trade a draft pick? Would you trade like a protected first round, not the regular first round, but protected first round pick, or even the Dallas first round pick for a rental to help the bench for this offseason? For this playoff run.
Yeah, why not? You're talking like an Eric Gordon or something.
Just someone who's going to be a free agent. Gordon signed for next year. Someone who will be free agent in the offseason. And I'm not giving you a name, but someone will add scoring to the bench, but will only help him for this season. Is it worth trading a draft pick to get that?
I would say the protected ones are.
See, I would kind of say like, unless the person's going to be on a team next year, I don't know if it's worth it because I don't know how far this team will go in the playoffs. I think if you add like an Eric Gordon, are we contending? Are we just going to be a tough out in the first round?
No, but I would say the protected because I think those are going to turn into second rounders anyway.
Okay,
So
fair point.
You know, if you have a little more firepower for the playoffs and it costs you basically a second rounder 5 years from now, do that. I wouldn't trade a first, even Dallas's first. I wouldn't do that.
Currently, the Knicks sit at they have the Dallas pick, so they have the 19th and 21st pick in the draft. I think it's pretty reasonable with how the Knicks have been drafting that they find at least one. I mean, you never know, but there's a decent chance the Knicks find one good player in those 2 picks.
Yeah,
You find one Grimes IQ level player in this draft, this team looks so much better next season.
yeah. Then it's go time.
Yeah.
If you nail that draft pick, then it's time to put all your chips in, trade all the rest of the picks, and get an all-star.
Well, even if you don't, here's a question. Like, do the Knicks, what's more important to the Knicks for their future potential? Getting an all-star on this team or getting, I put Grimes or IQ as above average players, right?
Yeah.
Who play solid defense. If you could, is it more important to get one superstar to like elevate this team Or would it be more important to get three, like 7 through 9, 7, 8, turn 7, 8, and 9 into 3 more players who can basically play above average on defense and offense? So basically, the Detroit more complete team, or do we really need that superstar to contend? Like, I'm thinking that maybe if you 7 through 9 become stronger, this team can contend because everyone's playing quality minutes.
I think you need that superstar because that is a much harder spot to fill. Finding a 7, 8, and 9, you could probably do that every year in the draft. Well, most teams can do it every year in the draft.
I don't know if I think like Grimes and IQ, you get players that are like they're both very good players.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get 7, 8, and 9, where basically your entire rotation are guys who are above average, who can play both offense and defense, that's going to be a pretty difficult team for any team to beat. Even if that superstar could nail shots, every team, like if you have superstar, if you have like a big 3 or a big 2, your depth is never that great.
I don't know what their ceiling is if they do that, though. I mean, do they get past the second round?
I don't know. I mean, maybe if you can play maybe if everyone can play defense, everyone can create their own shot, or most people can create their own shot. Maybe you're tough enough that you go pretty far in the playoffs. It's hard to get that star player, unless you get lucky in the draft. But if you can get a bunch of guys who can do a lot, like if any night 7 guys on your team could go off for 20, like you have a lot of guys who can do a lot in the Detroit model again. A lot of guys that can play defense, a lot of guys that can score.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have that superstar, but you need it.
Yeah. Not many teams win with a lot of above average guys.
Not many teams win the title generally.
No, but if you take all the title teams, Detroit's the only one I could think of that didn't have like a major superstar.
Brunson has been putting up amazing numbers, though he didn't shoot amazingly yesterday. But he's turning in. I mean, he's an all-star this year, right? He's got to make the all-star team.
I would think. I mean, he's very, very good.
I mean, does Randall? Do the Knicks have 2 all-stars, or like the Knicks at least Knicks are no matter what in the conversation for 2 all-stars?
Yeah. I mean, all-stars and like superstars are completely different, though.
I mean, that's a totally fair point.
I love Brunson and Randall. They're both very good, but they're not a Jokic. They're not a Giannis. And
Jokic has won no titles. Giannis has won one title.
Jokic also had his number 2 and 3 guy out for the playoffs last season.
You got to have some depth.
They're healthy now, and they're the number 1 seed. So
yeah, they have a very good chance. And Jokic has been goddamn awesome. They may play Giannis in the finals. It's tough to win a goddamn title. But if you're asking me, like, if you made our bench better, are we better than like, say, Philly? I think we could surpass Philly. I think we could contend with Boston in a series. I think we could contend with Milwaukee in a series if we have just a better bench. I mean, a lot better bench.
Yeah, I mean, you could pass Philly, which gets you to the second round, which is where I said the ceiling probably is.
Jay, we're gonna do the Detroit. I don't know how to get the superstar, so we're going the Detroit path. Really good defense, a very solid, complete team, and watch out, we're gonna win a goddamn title.
Okay,
not this year.
Good. I'm sold.
I don't know how to get the superstar. He says, Jay, on switching topics. I thought I wanted to read you this. The Wizards, Knicks play the Wizard. You play the Wizards. You play KP. The Knicks, and of course, the reporters asked KP about his experience in New York and so forth. Have you read the quote from KP?
Zuri said if you go back, he would have done things differently.
Let me read it. Okay. So it was asking one of our questions anyway. This was from Facebook anyway. So I'll read the question from Facebook. During the Wizards game, they showed a quote from KP that seemed to. This is from Frank, by the way, on Facebook. They showed a quote from KP that seemed to indicate that he regretted the way things ended in New York. If I'm a Knicks fan, I think I'm calling the Wizards and seeing if we can work something out. Mitch, Randall, KP up front, RJ and Brunson in the back, move Grimes to the bench. KP and Randall can both hit threes and play inside. I think it causes matchup nightmares for the opponents. Great PR move for James Dolan. The Wizards get worse so they can move up in the draft. Everyone is happy. I made his mock trade as well. Before I read the mock trade, let me read you the KP quote, and then we'll go back to it. Could I go back and do things differently? For sure. From our side, I was hurt. If I kept playing, it would have been completely different. I'm young and listening to people and what they're telling me on what I should do with my career. You don't know any better. That's how things went at the time. New York is a special place. Madison Square Garden is the most special place I'd ever played in. But at the moment, I thought I was like that on every team. I thought it was like that on every team. I had the most fun playing in the Garden.
Yeah, I mean, shocked that he didn't realize that New York was a better place to play than like Dallas.
I mean, it's the only place you know. You're getting like this like lauded by everyone, and the fans are crazy, and you think maybe every team is like this. You're like, he's not from the U.S. And he got a lot of. I think he's admitting basically
He
there were
messed
people
up,
talking
yeah.
to his ears, maybe his brother, and gave him shitty advice.
Definitely his brother. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the mock trade. KP and Taj, gotta get Taj back, for Hart, Cam, Obi, and Rose. Throw a couple first rounders in there. They can buy out Rose and Cam. I don't know. I put it together in like 30 seconds. What do you think, before you even say the trade, what do you think about trying to get KP back?
He's having a great season.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look amazing against the Knicks. So he hit some threes later in the game, but he did not look amazing against the Knicks. But he's having a very good statistical year.
His injury history scares the hell out of me.
He's been injured a lot, and he already was in a great situation in Dallas, and Dallas said, "We're good here," and traded him.
Honestly, if you're on the phone with Washington, I think you call about Kuzma instead.
Oh, KP's not going to like it. You know KP's a listener of the show, Jay.
Sorry, KP, but you had your chance.
You think Kuzma would fit in well? Because I think Kuzma wants to start. He plays power forward. We seem to already have a power forward.
He could play the three.
How's his defense?
It's okay. I mean, it's not like RJ's been like locked down.
But a
defender.
defense?
Yeah, he had to get benched yesterday. I mean, like
His defense, he didn't get benched yesterday. You mean the day before?
Yeah,
the day
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Because he played like every goddamn minute yesterday. RJ's defense has been okay at best. Since he's come back, he needs to get better defensively. So you're not bringing KP. How do you like that trade?
I mean, it's not like KP's a lockdown defender either.
Well, he's not. He gives you more rim protection. In theory, gives you better rebounding. He's also just really freaking tall. That should be helpful. And maybe in a better offense, and with like a better point guard, he would look even better.
So you're in on this.
No, I'm not. I think KP's great. Like I don't watch enough of KP, but I watch him against the Knicks, and we're gonna watch him tomorrow night when we go in person. But I feel like I don't know how much KP's game has really grown. Like I feel like when you first saw him, you're like, unicorn. Oh my god, he can dribble, he can shoot threes, he can do. There are other guys that can do that at around his same size. I thought he'd become a more dynamic scorer, and he really hasn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much of a post-up game still. I still think he's like he can be guarded by smaller defenders well.
Do you know that he's averaging 1.3 more rebounds per game than Kuzma?
That's not a lot more than Kuzma since he's like 7'3".
Yeah, that's my point. Kuzma's averaging 7.5 rebounds a game.
Yeah, I think it's more of an indictment of By the way, you know who's not getting enough credit for his rebounding is Randall. Randall has gotten like 15 or 16 rebounds every game for the last like 15 games.
15 in a row. I forget for how many, but it was like I think it was 7 in a row.
Like an absurd amount of rebounding. He said it gets him going in games to get rebounds. He loves doing it. You need big guys who can get rebounds.
5 in a row.
Yeah. Even if you look before that, it's not like it goes from like it's like 15, then it's not like it goes to 7, it goes to like 12, 11. Like his rebounding numbers have been great as of late.
Yeah, he's got 11 games in a row in double digits. One game
also,
he had 18.
As much as people are like, oh, I think Toppin should play. Toppin's rebounding skills versus Randall's rebound. Forget anything else. Randall is such a better rebounder than Toppin. It's not even close.
I mean, everyone seems to be complaining that Randall is like a ball hog too. He had 8 assists yesterday. Our point guard had 2.
He missed a bunch of shots. Like we also should talk about the fact that he also had 40 and 15 against the Pistons. The first time a Knick player has done that since Patrick Ewing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a pretty good stat.
Yeah, 42, 15, and 4, and he shot 62%. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But he hasn't been shooting great lately. But that
No,
was a
his efficiency has been down lately, but he seems to know like when his shot's really off. If you look, the games where he has a lower field goal percentage are also the games where he has more assists. It seems like he's kind of aware, like I don't really have it tonight. I'm gonna dish the ball more.
He seems to be. I think last year he missed a bunch of shots, and he just like complained to the refs and was just like not a great presence on the court. Right now, if he misses shots, he still seems to play a lot of defense, get rebounds, assists. He does everything else.
Yeah, he's been trying way harder on defense. He's been actually good on defense this year, which is night and day from last season.
Yeah, I mean he's been really good. So KP trade. So would you do that for Kuzma then? I guess throw in a few first rounds. So you're gonna have to use the New York Knicks first round picks because no one really gives a shit about the.
Are you though?
protected
Because
picks.
he's going to be a free agent next year, so they're going to lose him for nothing. So I don't think you have to give a lot for a guy that they're going to lose for nothing.
But there will be other offers.
Maybe.
So let's say they say we want a Nick first round pick, maybe 2025, and we'll take the Dallas pick this year.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we want the other players for Kuzma.
Yeah.
So 2 firsts for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's a significant upgrade in talent.
So you're basically saying Kuzma is a lot better than RJ. I hope you can sleep tonight when people listen to this.
I didn't say
comes
necessarily
RJ.
RJ, but I think he's significantly better than Grimes or McBride. And
He's better than McBride. I really like Grimes.
I like
but
Grimes.
yes, he's better.
I like
He's currently
Grimes,
better than
but-
Grimes at offense. No
Well, you're talking
problem.
about a
No
guy who's
question.
averaging like 28 and 5. Like, you know,
No question, Kuzma's a much better offensive player than Grimes is. Will Grimes ever get there? Who knows? Grimes' defense is stellar.
it is.
It is great that every night we can put Grimes on the best player on the other team, and he does a pretty good job.
Okay.
How did he do against, by the way, Tyrese Halliburton before Tyrese Halliburton was like, I can't play anymore, I'm injured.
So Tibbs is going with a 9-man rotation. You'd have to admit Kuzma is a huge upgrade over some of those players.
Yes.
you know.
He would be a very solid. I'm just wondering, Kuzma in his previous roles hasn't been quite as good. I'm wondering if he's this guy that, because there are lots of shots available, he's making a bunch of shots, but is he someone that will fit in well when you have a more complete team around him?
Yeah.
Like he's one of those guys. Like there's always guys that just like what he's shooting pretty well this year, right? His numbers, his efficiency is better than his like. This is one of his best, most efficient years, right?
Yeah.
Let me see what his numbers are. He's shooting 45% from the field. He's shooting 18 shots a game, which he's not going to get with the Knicks. Shooting 33% from 3, which is not crazy, but he's shooting a lot of threes. I don't know. The Wizards aren't really all that great either. He doesn't really make that team much better.
I mean, Beal has been out for most of the season. When you're missing your best player, I mean, after I look at the team after.
Do you know if you
Kuzma
add Randall's contract and Brunson's contract, it's almost equal to Beal's contract.
I know Beal has an insane contract.
Beal has an insane contract that's going to get worse every year, and Randall, RJ, and Brunson are all on good value deals.
Beal signed that new contract like the month before he fell off.
I don't know why the Wizards knew it was a bad idea to sign him, and they were like, if we don't sign him, the fans will go away. We have to keep our superstar.
I think
was
they
just an
thought
idiotic
they were going to get at
trade.
least a couple years out of it. I mean, deep down they had to know the last 2 years were going to be bad, but I don't think they thought he was like immediately going to just not play anymore.
What if we could have one of the worst contracts in the NBA in John Wall, and then a couple of years later have one of the worst contracts in the league with Bradley Beal?
John Wall had a nasty dunk the other day, and everyone's like, Wall's back. Then he's out with a hurt back for like 2 weeks now.
So Jay, your boy, the Knicks played Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Halliburton played 27 minutes, was kind of in those 27 minutes. How you feeling about him? I know he's a very good player, obviously.
He's
and I'd love to have him on the Knicks.
still clearly the pick over Obi, but I mean,
Oh, of course,
he
but,
didn't look good against the Knicks now.
Okay, just wanted to play. You know who guarded him?
Yeah, Grimes completely shut him down.
Yeah, and you want to bench Grimes, Jay?
Well, I mean, there's bench and there's like don't play him anymore. You could still
So
play a
here's the-
bench player 20 minutes a game.
Here's the thing: if you trade for Kuzma, he's not good enough necessarily to bench any of the starters. And if you want to bench Grimes, then you don't have someone to really shut that. You need Grimes to play in the start with the starters because you need that one guy in defense who can be the wing, who can shut down the other players, and can shut down the other players. So Kuzma's really going to be a high scoring bench player for your team.
Or RJ.
Or RJ. I mean, obviously the team is better. You get another very good player. I really, really want the Knicks. I mean, I understand if you're making a swing for a Donovan Mitchell, great. I'm all for it. If you're making a swing for Kuzma, I almost would prefer the Knicks just go like, hey, let's just draft some players and see how it goes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's taking a swing is different than like going all in. Like,
I mean,
if you do that move for Kuzma, you still have pretty much a package for like another star.
I don't use a
that
couple
makes
of your picks.
Well, you used a couple picks, but now you feel a lot more comfortable, like maybe throwing in RJ or.
I mean, fair. Yeah, obviously, if you're going to go for a star, you might have to throw in some of your better players. I don't know who that star is. It's not clear who will be the next star that will be available, so to speak. I don't know who that will be. At some point, someone will be available, but it's hard to say right now who will be. I would rather also, if you draft guys, then you basically can get them on better deals. You have them for 4 years before the money really gets tight, and then you can always you can use the bird rights and so forth. So what happens again? You trade for Kuzma. You said he's a free agent this offseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do the Knicks do?
You resign him.
Do you have the bird rights?
I think so. I think if you have him, I think you would, right?
I don't know if you have bird rights because I don't really quite understand how bird rights work, but I don't know if they transfer like that. Let me see if what it says about his contract. If it says anything here. So it says he's just signed for. It says it's it's a player option for next year for $13 million, which you clearly will say no to. I don't know if or if not there's bird. If there's no bird option, then it's insane to trade for him. Because then you're just going all in for this year, basically trading 2 draft picks to
Oh yeah,
compete
no,
this
I
year.
agree. Player must have played 3 seasons without being waived or changing teams as a free agent. Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay. I thought there's some way where you can trade bird rights. I don't know.
Wait, without being waived or changing teams as a free agent. So he got traded. So I think that still means he get his bird rights. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I
it says
don't
if
know.
the player's traded, the bird rights are traded with him, and his new team can use the bird rights to resign him. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever. Okay. I guess you could, but then if you do that, also you use the bird rights on him. Well, I guess you're just going over the cap and just paying like the luxury tax or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just not convinced by Kyle Kuzma's game. I mean, I know he had 40 against the Knicks, but I'm just not convinced he's the guy the Knicks should really like. I don't know if the Knicks should really go for him. I think if you tell me, who do you think if you ask the fans, would they rather have KP or Kuzma? Who would they pick?
Kuzma.
You think so?
I think people are going to hate KP till the day he dies.
Fair enough. And the injury stuff also. Maybe I'll ask that on Facebook tomorrow. Okay, so I would take, I guess Kuzma makes more sense, maybe could make more sense than KP because of KP's injuries. Anyway, either way, I don't think the Knicks will trade. You think the Knicks are going to trade for Kuzma?
No, I think they're going to make a move, though. I think it's going to be more of a peripheral Eric Gordon type of move. They definitely want to upgrade the bench, and I think they're going to target guys that are like well above average, like fringe starters, but you can get away with playing them on the bench. I think those are the guys they're going to target.
By the way, if Gordon, they target Gordon, you know what the comment will be? The comments you'll see all over after his first game.
I can't believe Gordon's playing over McBride or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be like, why is Tibbs giving all these minutes to the veterans? We just traded for him. Bench him. We need to develop the young guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't Savi play over him?
Why can't we only play guys 23 or under, but also win 60 games a season?
Facebook, Frank writes, what players are on the Mount Rushmore of Knicks fandom irrational love? These players have to be the Knicks draft picks. I think though Cam could be up there. I think pretty obviously you need to put Obi and Frank up there, but who else could you fill out there? Who else do you put up there?
This is a good question.
Landry Fields, Willie Hernan Gomez. We got his rights on the draft night, so close enough. John Wallace. So I do think Frank could do a Mountain.
Frank's clear number one. Clear number one.
Obi is getting up there.
Yeah.
Because the love and what he does on the court just are not the same.
Yeah.
The Cam stuff, I mean, there's still fringes of people being crazy about Cam, but it seems like the better the Knicks play, the more people are like not so crazy about Cam. Not so crazy like why can't Cam play?
I would like to submit Damian Dotson.
I like Damian Dotson.
People were saying he should start and he should get 35 minutes. He was out of the league as soon as he left the Knicks.
It was like people also were like, he can get threes, play great defense, and you're like, he can't do either of those things. I know he can hit threes, just not like any high level. He can't play above average defense. You're just imagining things and pretending he does these things.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say Dotson. Clay Anthony early.
No, I don't give a shit about Clay Anthony early. John Wallace, were fans crazy about John Wallace? I don't feel like they were that crazy about John Wallace. And also, it was before social media, and I think the craziness about players has really been more since social media took off.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, okay, Frank, Obi, I would love to put Cam up there to a certain extent.
I think Dodson's got to be up there.
Ron Baker. When people are like, we have a core, and you're like, you said Ron Baker and the word core in the same sentence.
Yeah, maybe Ron Baker and
Hernan Gomez, which I kind of believed in for a little while. And I remember someone telling me, like, after his first season that, like, I think he might suck. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I can't include a player who had a good season. Like, Novak had a good season, even though he pretty much did nothing after. So I wouldn't call that irrational because he actually did something well.
He said we have to pick draft picks also.
Well, I think he said he would pick draft picks.
Oh, yeah, I thought the question was that these players have to be Knicks draft picks.
Oh, they have to? Okay. Well, that makes it easier. So, Obi, Frank, Dodson, and, then you can't pick Baker.
You can't pick Ron Baker because he was a not drafted. Who else recently? Oh, not quite there yet, but the dude we drafted and sent over to Europe, people are like, he's amazing. As soon as he gets here, he's going to be awesome. People are like, he could be our starting point guard.
Mm-hmm.
He's never played in America before. Are you sure?
I don't think he's ever going to play here.
I don't know if he will or not, but like people are like, oh, we nailed that draft pick. You're like, are you sure? He hasn't played in the NBA yet. He's not dominating Europe either, so I don't know if he nailed that draft pick.
Right.
We think anyone.
That was Andrew said what game were we playing? We're playing guys Knicks drafted that fans have irrational love for.
The Mount Rushmore, so we need a fourth guy. You're putting Dotson on there. I mean, nothing's been beyond the Frank. The Frank love is insane. There's some people that are still thinking that like we screwed up with Knox. I was still seeing someone saying like online that it was an organizational failure. How could you not develop Knox? I was like, every year, 5 of the 10 guys that picked in the top 10 are not developed. Every year they're misses.
It has to be Knox.
What a terrible draft pick that was.
Yeah. Okay.
That was okay. The Facebook also. Rob writes, it feels like the Knicks' best lineup is Brunson, Quickly, Grimes, Randall, Mitch. Should the Knicks still consider RJ as an untouchable piece in the trade, or try to package him with Obi and Cam for a star?
I mean, I don't think anybody should be untouchable.
Brunson.
I mean, Brunson's as close as you can get to untouchable.
How dare you, Jay? Brunson. Stop it, Jay.
Jokic just
Shut the
demanded
hell
a
up,
trade.
Jay. Jay, I will. If you even mention Brunson in a trade, I'm going to cover your place. I'm going to cough on you. Give you. COVID,
I
Jay.
don't want to trade Brunson, but I'm Denver's GM. Jokic just demanded a trade. We want Brunson.
Sorry, if you mentioned Brunson. I'm sorry. I'm going to hang up now.
You're a madman.
Also, I know this is not Denver's GM because you said Jokic in trade. So, okay, but what do you think? I kind of agree with him though. Like Brunson, quickly, Grimes, Randall, and Mitch are a better lineup. Just as far as the pieces, they're a better lineup than having RJ out there. And this is not saying IQ is better than RJ. IQ just fits with the starters better than RJ, and that's why also that you got to put RJ more at the bench.
Yep. Hey, Mark.
Hey.
The NFL playoff action continues. We're one step closer to Super Bowl 57 and the NFL divisional round. Check out DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can take a shot at an even bigger payout with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Boost your NFL winnings with each leg and add up to 100%. So I did that a couple weeks ago. Got about 10 times my money by stacking up parlays. So you can do it.
How much you win?
I won $65 on a $5 bet. So if I can do it, you guys can do it too.
Someone's bragging.
I know. I'm a big roller. High roller there. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code NYKP. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL divisional round and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code NYKP. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
On Instagram, Knickerbocker Avenue pointed out their documentary is up. We had them on the show.
Yes. So, yeah. Orange and the Blues. Check out the documentary on Amazon Prime. We had the main guys from that documentary on the show a couple months ago, and now you can see the movie. Yeah,
everyone should check it out. It's on Prime. Literally everyone in the country has Amazon Prime. So, and if you don't, just find someone that does and watch it. Lowe's Dude writes, "What's your favorite basketball movie or favorite ball movie?"
Probably White Man Can't Jump.
I agree. That's my favorite.
It's just so much fun.
It's such a great movie.
Yeah, it's really
such a great movie.
Especially the first 20 minutes. Like I can watch that over and over.
Oh my God. So that's an amazing movie. I do. Yeah, I love that. 2, Hoosiers is great. I kind of like Glory Road. I think it's a pretty awesome movie.
Teen Wolf.
I'm a sucker. I mean, I'm not to get race involved, but Glory Road gets race involved. You've seen Glory Road, right? Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
I think a long time ago.
So it's let me remember the colleges because it's based on a true story, and it's just a great. It's such a great. So it's which school? Yeah, Texas Western College.
Mm-hmm.
The coach goes, "Hey, man, it's hard to find talent. What if we recruit black players? How will that go?"
Mm-hmm.
And they win the title. Well, they're the only team that's like, we'll open to recruiting black players.
Well, the movie I like, they're like, what if instead of a human, we had a werewolf join our team? And the whole school is like, okay, that's normal. We'll just cheer for the werewolf. Nothing creepy about that.
I guess Teen Wolf would qualify also, but Glory Road is pretty like, it's just like a funny, like, he's just like, hey, these black players seem to be better than all the white players. Why is no one else recruiting them? Oh, we just don't do that. Fine, I'll win the title. See how that goes.
Yeah. Jay Shady wanted to submit Alonzo Trier for the Mount Rushmore.
Okay. Trier, he was not a draft pick, though. He was a free agent signing after the draft. Also, what's the movie with Ray Allen? It's a pretty solid one.
He Got Game?
He Got Game is a pretty solid movie also.
It is.
Anyone else up there?
Basketball Diaries?
That's really depressing, but yes.
It is.
That's a really depressing one. The one with Shaq. Not Shazam.
Blue Chips?
The best blue, what is it called?
I think it's Blue Chips.
Blue Chips. That's a terrible movie, but
I never saw it.
Also. Oh, it's I remember it being poorly acted, so I imagine it's even worse now. But I think Nick Nolte was the coach.
We got Joanna Man and Space Jam.
Space Jam, the original Space Jam is fun.
What about Eddie? Wasn't that what Whoopi Goldberg is, like an NBA coach?
No, yeah, but she's fired. She's coaching the Knicks because she gets fired for playing the guys too many minutes. What is it? Be Like Mike, where the kid plays in the NBA. He suddenly develops the skills of Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Airbud.
The Knicks trade a first round pick to get a dog. They're like, "What are you doing?" Don't worry, the dog can play defense.
I saw him dunk the ball by tipping it off his nose.
What else is there?
Now we're just naming basketball. We're not even naming good.
Yeah, no, we're not even naming good ones. We're just naming basketball movies.
This movie had a basketball in it. I think Home Alone, they threw a basketball at the robber's head at some point.
So, White Man Can't Jump, if you haven't seen it, that's my favorite. Number 2 in my list is Glory Road, which I think is a really good movie. And number 3, if we're counting Teen Wolf, then I like Teen Wolf on there.
I'm counting it.
Okay. He Got Game is really good, too. And Samuel writes, what's a realistic trade do you think the Knicks could push the Knicks to the next level and becoming genuine contenders in the playoffs? Is there such a trade that is out there? Feel on our day we could beat anyone. When the Knicks are on, when Randall's hitting his shots, the Knicks are pretty hard to beat.
Could wait. Andrew said trade the war chest for the dog. We could wait a year or two until Lucas snaps and demands a trade.
I mean, everyone's pretty young, so you really. When is Donovan Mitchell? When is Donovan Mitchell a free agent?
Does it even matter anymore? Apparently, you could sign contracts and demand a trade like 3 weeks later, so I don't think it matters.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if he demanded a trade from the Cavs after this year? He's not going to, but he's just like, I'm done with this team. You're like, we traded 1,700 picks for you. So what? Because he never signed an extension with them, if I recall.
Did you see the mural?
He's got 2 more years. So he has a player option in 2025-26, right when all the Knicks start hitting their primes. Randall will be like 31. Everyone else will be fully developed. We bring in Donovan Mitchell. Let's start talking about it, Jay.
Did you see the lady who painted a huge mural of Luka holding a sign that said, "Get me some help"? And it showed a bunch of his good stat lines behind him. And Mark Cuban personally emailed them to tell them that was not a cool thing to do.
Who do you think, if you had to say, not who the Knicks are going to get, but who is the next star player, really star player, who is going to ask out and demand for a trade? Because this keeps happening. Mm-hmm. Durant almost did it, but who is going to be the star player? And the Nets are playing pretty well right now, so I don't necessarily think he's going to ask for a trade. Who asks for a trade?
Trae Young.
I said star player, Jay. Can you please try again?
Might be Luka.
I mean, the Hawks got we were all like,
yeah,
wow.
Andrew won. Harden.
Yeah,
I mean, he's done it 2 years in a row.
I didn't say former star player.
Can you imagine Harden did it 3 years in a row? Why would anybody trade for him if he does it 3 years in a row?
The Hawks are 22-22. They gave they gave a ton of not quite the Donovan Mitchell level package, but they gave a lot for DeJounte Murray, mm-hmm. and they're pretty goddamn mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, you think that the Hawks are gonna trade? Is this Trae gonna ask for a demand? So would you trade for Trae?
No.
What if you could get Trae for a lot of draft picks?
Above the rim.
Okay, would you? Oh, that's a good one. Also, is Trae would make our team better, right?
I
don't think that having a guy that could shoot all the shots every night would be helpful.
He's not shooting great, and he is terrible on defense.
What about DeMar DeRozan? Would you trade for DeMar DeRozan? Would you think Chicago would take two? Would that be someone you can get and someone you would think that would make a lot of sense? Chicago is in trouble. They're not great. They need to rebuild. Would that be a trade that makes sense? DeMar DeRozan is awesome from the mid range. He could be another lights out player. He would make our team a lot better. Would you take DeRozan over Kuzma? Ooh. I'm not saying DeRozan's a star, but I'm just saying he's a very good player.
He's very good, and he's probably the player the Knicks need right now. But he is 33.
He is still very good, and he doesn't seem to miss shots.
Yeah, I would do it.
Here's a player that could be asking for a trade. Would be understandable. LaMelo. Young player. The team is complete trash. Maybe he doesn't want to play with a trash team. They're about to, maybe they'll get Wembanyama, so that's the pitcher keeping him. But the Ball family is kind of annoying. Do you think they would? Do you think LaMelo would go like, "Hey, just don't want to play on this shit team anymore"?
Somebody definitely threatened his dad because I have not seen or heard from that guy in like a year.
LaMelo also has missed half the games this year, but he has a ton of talent. If you pair him with like Brunson, that's a pretty nasty backcourt.
It is. It is. Like I said, anytime you get upgrade talent, I'm all for it.
Anyone else that like looks obvious that like that might be ask out? I mean, possibly Minnesota trades Towns. So Minnesota's playing a little better lately.
I think D'Angelo Russell's more available.
Yeah. Would you trade for D'Angelo Russell?
No.
Okay, yeah. I'm not dying to play for him. Trade for him. No other
Well, I mean,
Phoenix
Utah
is
is
bad,
starting
but
to, Utah might blow it up a second time. I mean, they're almost
trade
out
for
of
Marketing?
they're almost out of the play-in. I think Marketing might be the only guy they keep. I could see them getting rid of Clarkson and
Conley.
Olynyk and
What if? I mean, we're also talking about like, okay, here's a real superstar. Do you think he could get unhappy enough in Phoenix? Booker. Do you think there's a chance that Booker gets unhappy enough in Phoenix that he said like, screw this, I want to go to a better team?
I think Phoenix would trade every other guy on the team before Booker.
But what if he doesn't like? Is he a candidate for? Like, you're talking about candidates for really like I want out. And that has to be a superstar that the team does not want to get rid of, but he wants out. I will call if we're going to make bets, Jay, on this, and we're not going to. I guess if we were to make bets, I would call Devin Booker the next guy to ask out. He looks around the Suns; they're not that great. We're not going anywhere. Our previous owner, I guess, is a total jackass. Organization wise, like I don't get a lot. I am one of the best players in the league, and people barely speak about me because I'm on the goddamn Suns. And I know we were good a couple years ago, but we're not good now. We're heading downhill. Let me try to go to a better team. Let me go to New York.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
What would you give for Booker? Would you go all in? He's worth a huge package, right?
Yeah. I don't like him, but yeah, he's worth a huge package.
I mean, he would put us over the top.
Yeah. I would think so.
RJ and every draft pick we have.
I wasn't sure how good he was until he got injured, and Phoenix is literally incapable of winning a game without him. So,
I mean, I think there's a max number of like you can only give a certain number of picks in a first round picks of your own. Might be 3 or 4. You can only give a certain number of years out. I would give pick swaps. I would give the first round picks, whatever else you want. If you could add Devin Booker without really changing our core, maybe swap RJ for Devin Booker and then trade a bunch of our draft picks and maybe Obi2 and Cam, whoever else. This team would be a contender.
Yeah. It'll never happen, but yeah.
Is there any other superstar what other superstar do you think is going to have like it's that or Luka, I guess? Be like the guys who might be unhappy and will actually win out.
I could see Durant asking for another trade, but at this point, like, would you even be interested?
He's gonna go. He's gonna go. Like Durant's gonna go to Joe Tsai and go like, I want to be traded. And Joe's gonna be like, sure. Didn't we do this last offseason? Sure, I'll try to trade you. How's it going with trading me? I'm playing Wordle right now. I'll get back to you.
I mean, he's 34 and hasn't been healthy in like 4 years.
Yeah, Durant.
Yeah, I mean, when he plays, he's ridiculous, but like he hasn't played even close to a full season in 4 years.
We discussed this I think we discussed it maybe on the show also. Would you trade for LeBron? I would trade for LeBron also. This offseason, I would give picks and stuff to get LeBron to go for one season with LeBron.
I'd give a little bit. I wouldn't go all in because you're only getting him for a season.
Right, but be a good freaking season.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we are NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. The New York Knicks Podcast.com is our website.
OnlyFans.
Yep. Like and subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can get podcasts. We are on there. I feel like I'm forgetting
TikTok,
something.
Jay, the most popular of all platforms. Yes, no.
Well, we are on TikTok, not for the Knicks stuff, but we're promoting our
I thought you were going to do that, Jay.
our game and our newsletter on TikTok. So if you're interested, our comedy show is The Brink of Sanity, and what the hell is our TikTok?
I don't know. Well, we'll put links somewhere.
You made our TikTok. You don't even know.
Anyway, the Knicks have a
Brink of Sanity show on TikTok.
We haven't really gone all in on making TikToks yet, and they're going to be
March. March is the big launch for our newsletter, thebrinkofsanity.substack.com, and
tune in March when we say that the big launch is in April, and Jay kills me.
yes, I'm gonna get very.
Last question, Jay. So the Knicks before next show, the Knicks are playing the Wizards tomorrow night, the Hawks, and the Raptors. What's going to happen? By the way, can we stop playing the Raptors already?
Yeah, I'm done with the Raptors.
Okay.
They're gonna
What do you
go. They're gonna go. I think 3-0. We got revenge game. Got to beat Porzingis. And the Hawks just stink.
Then the Hawks, you got to shut Trey up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night they're going to kick some ass.
All right. So, we'll be at the game tomorrow. So if you want to say hi, send us a message on Twitter. And, we'll be back next week. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining in the chat. And
If you message us and you meet Jay will hug you. So if you want to get a hug from Jay, just message us.
Mark will shake your hand. Right.
And Jay will give you a hug.
Yeah. All right.
Jay, I have a question. Would you hug anyone? Any other thing, I'm a big fan of the show. Will you hug them?
Sure. Yeah.
Liar.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody.